A lot of signs for this Cardinals Jets game coming up on Sunday is about just the offenses and which offense is going to be able to impose their will on the other. The Cardinals running game or the Jets passing game. Garrett Wilson has been terrific for the Jets. I mean, it's been very, very good for them. I got Davante Adams, but Wilson has really done a good job, had some really good games for him lately, had those incredible touchdown catches, and that's kind of a matchup that you just got to want to see if they can get him going, in this game. Because if you go look at the last couple of games he's played, this kid from Ohio State who was a first-round pick a couple of years ago, you're starting to see some really big games. He had 10 targets for 9 catches against Houston for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. That incredible one-handed grab that everybody was talking about. Week before that, he had 113 yards receiving on 5 catches against New England. He had 107 yards against Buffalo with a touchdown, 101 yards against Minnesota with a touchdown. Slow start for the first 4 games, but in the last 5 games, you've seen him really start to kill it. He's got 3 100-yard games and 4 touchdowns in the month of October.
No, he's a talented kid, and so is Davante Adams, talented veteran. Aaron Rodgers, when he has time, can still deliver the football. But in talking to people in New York earlier in the week, I mean, the feeling on the Jets is this is still dysfunction. This is not a well-oiled machine. Yeah, you beat the Texans 21-13, but C.J. Stroud didn't have Nico Collins and didn't have Stephon Diggs in that game, and the Jets put up 21 points, and the Jets do have a good defense. But, Gambo, even with Garrett Wilson back there, there's still a bottom 10 offense in the National Football League. It's a bottom 3 rushing offense, and it's a bottom 10 scoring offense. They're not even averaging 20 points a game. So there are cracks in the armor, if you will, if there ever was armor.
But they didn't have Davante Adams all year. And now, Rodgers did have 3 touchdown passes last week with no interceptions. Breece Hall ran the ball 74 yards on 15 carries for a 5-yard average. Davante Adams had 91 yards on 7 catches. Garrett Wilson had 90 on 9 catches. I understand you could look at it as a whole and say they're not a good offense. They're looking at it like, okay, we're finally getting right. We fired our coach. We got a new interim coach. Took a little while. Now we're starting to get into, they expected to have a good offense. And they feel like that last game against the Texans, a good team, may be the start of what they expect the offense to be.
Yeah, 21 points. I mean, I get it. And one of those was a late touchdown to Adams. Will 21 points be enough to win this game on Sunday? I don't know. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett was demoted. I mean, took away play calling. Todd Downing's now calling the plays. They can't get the running game going at all. And Aaron Rodgers behind a very beat-up offensive line right now. In fact, let me check the injury report. A lot of these guys didn't practice earlier in the week. John Simpson, their guard. Elijah Vera Tucker did not practice. He's a guard. Their backup guard is also hurt. So they got issues right now.
That's why he's getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, Morgan Moses is the right tackle. He didn't practice either. So
yeah, he's been in a hyper... Morgan Moses, he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber.
But even when he's healthy,
Morgan
he does
Moses,
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like he's been known as an Iron Man, but like he goes to sleep in how many people have a hyperbaric chamber in their house to sleep in? Like, yeah, oxygen therapy that involves breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized environment. The extra oxygen helps fight bacteria and triggers the release of substances called growth factors and stem cells, which promote healing. He sleeps in that at night. Yeah.
All right. Good for Morgan
About
Moses.
6 hours every night, he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber, Morgan Moses. I don't know.
Well,
never slept in one, but
so far it's not helping them this week. So anyway, they're bang. And Rodgers, I get it, threw for 3 touchdowns, only threw for 211 yards. So again, that's why when you talk to people in New York or the people I spoke with, what they told me was it's just not a very well-oiled machine, and dysfunction still reigns supreme. Now, we talked about it in the opening segment. I agree with you. I think the Jets are looking at this game as a desperate situation. Their last opportunity to avoid a 3-7 start, kind of get closer to 500. They got a bunch of winnable games. If they start playing better, they got winnable games up until the last Sunday of the year on December 29th when they go to Buffalo. They could conceivably roll out a lot of wins. And Rodgers has done this before in his career, so he's confident that he can do it again. But I do think that if the Cardinals play the way they've been playing lately, this should be a W on Sunday.
Yeah, now for the other side, the other offense, so Garrett Wilson for the Jets, for the Cardinals, it's James Conner. 5 games with over 100-plus total yards. The Jets are not great at stopping the run. Their goal is to try to prevent James Conner from having this big game. James Conner has 19 touches in 7 of his 8 completed games this season. He's been healthy for every game. He's trying to stay healthy. He's never been healthy for a full season. He's trying to do that. But he has really been the catalyst for this Cardinals offense. So for the Jets, you look at it like you're worried about Kyler Murray in the passing game. No, they're worried about James Conner and trying to shut down that running game.
Got a really good passing defense. I think they're second in the league. The run defense hasn't been as good. I mean, Quinn Williams is in there in the middle. Will McDonald can get to the passer. But again, they're susceptible.
Will McDonald's a good player.
Yeah, but they're susceptible to the run game. And James Conner obviously is the centerpiece. But you love what DeMercado and even Trey Benson did in that game. On Cardinal running backs, they combined for 203 rushing yards, because remember, McBride and Murray had a few rushing yards.
Yeah, McBride had the touchdown.
But then the Cardinal running backs also caught the ball for 33 more yards. So they combined the three-headed monster for 236 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. So Conner's now getting help. Obviously, it begins and ends with James Conner. But again, there are other weapons there on the ground that I would expect Drew Petzing, as much as you'd love to watch Kyler Murray throw the football, I would expect them to try to pound the Jets into submission once again in this game.
Well, look, go back to the Miami game, right? When James Conner was stopped, Kyler Murray threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he won the game. So they showed that, hey, if you stop James Conner, if you want to load the box and stop James Conner, we've got other ways to beat you. We're going to throw the football. And Murray, a very, very good game, a terrific game against Miami, was because they really shut James Conner down in that game. 20 carries for 53 yards. They kind of shut him down, and then Murray was able to throw the ball 36 times, 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. McBride had 9 catches. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 6 catches. Michael Wilson had 5 catches. That was a really good way to respond to what happens if a team tries to really put all their effort into stopping James Conner.
And you bring up a good point. I get it. Trey McBride is a weapon. They use him to move the sticks. They use him down in the red zone. But the Cardinals, after that pretty good game for their wide receivers in Miami, kind of took a step back now in that win over the Bears. Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 2 catches. Wilson, no catches, only 1 target. Dortch, no targets. Zay Jones, I had higher expectations for Jones once he came off the suspension. That hasn't happened. So really, the Cardinals have to establish a downfield passing game outside of Trey McBride. I mean, you got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. It's great to win a game where Kyler doesn't have to do anything and you just run the ball to death.
Here's Drew Petzing on the Cardinals being able to run the football.
Yes, I think anytime you're operating and you feel like you're gaining yards, getting first downs, putting yourself in position to get points, especially with the explosive plays that came through it, I think you feel good about it. Whether it's run, pass, I don't think it necessarily matters in that direction, but, certainly pleased with a lot of the production early in the game that gave us the lead. And, credit to the players. I think they had a major role in that.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you one more from Drew Petzing, talking about the success in the run game and what it was a product of.
Probably a little of both, and some of it may be based on how they played their front coverages they were in as well in terms of the scheme. But, I think that, certainly getting those guys out in space at the second level, you love the matchups of big guys in space if they can get on little guys. But I think it creates some lanes. You can talk about cutting the defense or creating some of those creases for the runners. I think we were certainly able to do that at a pretty high level on Sunday, which was really good to see.
Yeah. So they ran the ball. The blocking's been outstanding, too. I mean, the ability of the guards to pull. I mean, Tristan Cologne's been really good for them. Froholt. Their guards and centers have really been able to go out and pull and lay some big blocks down the field. I mean, you look at the DeMercado touchdown. That was absolutely a thing of beauty. That was a great play. Cardinals having a lot of success in the running game.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.